At 8 p.m. on a full moon night, 3 warriors entered the forest to hunt. Only one came back alive, forever marked by what happened. The other 2, Juba and Arawak, were taken by the creature the forest fears most. Blood trails on the ground, on the leaves, broken arrows, and a fallen feather headdress were all I found at dawn. And what I witnessed that night changed my life forever. My name is Kanauã. I am the shaman of my village, and I have lived in this jungle for more than 60 moons. And this is the story of the night I faced a Mapinguari. I was young. I had only 23 moons on my shoulders. Strong, fast, brave, like every warrior my tribe was expected to be. That night, the moon was full and bright in the sky. A perfect night for hunting. Juba Arawak. And I decided to take advantage of the moonlight. We left at 8 p.m. with our bows, arrows, and the confidence of those who know every tree, every sound, every breath of the forest. Juba was the most experienced. Arawak was the fastest. And me, I was the most spiritual. I already carried the ancient prayers with me. But that night, no prayer felt strong enough. We hunted well, very well. Within a few hours, we had pacas, armadillos, even a small deer. The moon lit our path as if it were daylight. We were satisfied, but still wanted more. It was almost midnight when Juba suddenly stopped. He raised his hand, the signal for silence. We all froze. Arawak whispered, "What is it?" Juba only pointed toward the forest ahead of us. The birds, they stopped singing. And he was right. The entire forest was silent, a heavy silence, an unnatural silence, as if everything alive was hiding. Then the wind began to blow, strong, cold, carrying a smell, a stench of rot, like decaying flesh mixed with wet earth. And then we heard it, a scream. It wasn't an animal. It wasn't human. It was something between the two, a deep, monstrous roar that echoed to the forest and sank into our bones. Ulwar Farg. The ground shook beneath our feet. Juba looked at me, his eyes wide with terror. He knew. I knew. Arawak knew. Mapinguari. Juba whispered the word like a curse. The Mapinguari. The creature the elders call the beast that walks in the shadows. A gigantic being, covered in red and black fur, with claws longer than machetes. They say it has a mouth in its belly, a mouth that devours its prey whole. But the most terrifying thing about the Mapinguari isn't its strength. It isn't its size. It's the smell. A stench so powerful it paralyzes animals and men. My grandfather once told me the Mapinguari was once human. A warrior who ate the flesh of a sacred jaguar, breaking the greatest taboo of the forest. The forest punished him, transforming him into an eternally hungry monster. And that night, he was hunting, and we were the prey. Another scream. Closer, much closer. Crash. A tree fell. Then another. The sound of trunks being ripped from the ground like twigs. Run, Juba shouted. And we ran. We dropped the hunt. We dropped everything. We just ran. I could hear the heavy footsteps behind us. Boom, boom, boom. Each step shook the earth. Branches snapping. Trees groaning. The stench growing stronger. And then panic tore us apart. Juba and Arawak ran to the left, into the densest, darkest part of the forest. I ran to the right, where the moonlight still reached. That was the last time I saw my brothers alive. I ran for hours. Or minutes. I don't know. Time stopped existing. There was only fear, and that roar, always behind me. Uwarfurk. I could smell it. That stench that burns your lungs. He was following me. He was close. I looked back once. Just once. And I saw a red eye, glowing in the darkness, 5 meters behind me. A massive silhouette, taller than any man, covered in fur, with long arms dragging along the ground. I tripped, fell, scraped my knee on a rock. I was on the ground. The Mapinguari just a few steps away. I could hear its breathing, heavy, ragged, smelling me. And in that moment, I remember my grandfather's words. Kanauã, when the forest tests you, don't fight with weapons, fight with faith. I closed my eyes. My hands trembled as I brought them together, and I began to pray. I prayed in the language of the ancients. I prayed to the guardian spirits of the forest. I prayed for them to calm the beast. O spirits of the jungle, guardians of the night, protectors of warriors, push away the shadow that devours. The wind stopped. The stench began to fade. I opened my eyes. The creature was still there, staring at me. Its red eye locked onto mine, but it didn't attack. I kept praying. For minutes, maybe hours. My voice never stopped. My body shook, but my faith was unbreakable. And then, the Mapinguari let out one final roar. Lower, deeper, almost respectful, and it vanished into darkness. I stayed there, sitting on the forest floor, praying, shaking, crying, alive but marked. The night passed slowly. Every minute felt like an eternity. I couldn't move. My body was frozen with fear. But my heart screamed for my brothers. When the first rays of sunlight pierced the forest canopy, when the birds returned, I found the strength to stand. I need to find them, I thought. I need to know. I followed the path they had taken, into the darkest part of the forest. The ground was torn up, leaves scattered, marks of something heavy being dragged. Then I found the first sign. Juba's bough, broken clean in half, as if crushed by something impossibly strong. It was the bough he had made with his own hands, the one he had carried since becoming a warrior. Juba, I whispered. Where are you? 20 steps ahead. I found the arrows, 3 of them, broken, scattered, desperation. On a tree trunk, claw marks, 5 massive claws embedded deep in the wood, sap still dripping. They were fresh. Then I smelled it again, faint, but still there. He's still close. I thought. Further ahead, I found Arawak's feather headdress, the one he always wore. His pride. It was on the ground, muddy, trampled. I picked it up, and something fell from it. A tooth, a human tooth. Arawak's. My stomach turned. I wanted to vomit, but I held it back. Where were the bodies? I searched for hours. I screamed their names until my voice was gone. Juba, Arawak, nothing. Then I found the blood, a large pool on the ground. Dried blood, blood splattered on the trees. Human blood. They fought. They tried to survive. But the Mapinguari is merciless. I collapsed beside the blood and cried. I gathered the broken bows, the arrows, the headdress, and the tooth. The only proof they had been there. Their bodies were never found. Some say the creature drags its victims into a cave. Others say it devours everything, flesh, bone, and soul. I don't know, and maybe it's better not to know. I returned to the village alone. No hunt, no brothers, only survival and guilt. When I arrived, the sun was high. They saw my face, my torn clothes, my empty hands, and the broken bows I carried. Juba's mother ran toward me. Where is my son? Arawak's wife grabbed my arm. Where is he? What happened? I couldn't speak. How do you explain a glowing red eye? A stench that freezes your soul? A scream that haunts your dreams? I showed them the broken arrows, the trampled headdress. They understood. They collapsed, screaming and crying, and I stood there, silent. Weeks passed before I could tell the full story. When I finally did, the elders called me to the center of the village, and they said words that changed my life forever. Kanauã, you faced the Mapinguari and survived. You were chosen. You will be our next shaman. Because I survived not through strength, not through courage, but through faith. Since that night, I never hunt under a full moon, And I never enter the forest without prayer. More than 40 moons have passed, and when I look into the forest at night, I know he is still there. The Mapinguari, the beast of the shadows, the devourer. He hasn't forgotten me, and I haven't forgotten him. Some say it's just a legend, a story to scare children. But I saw it, I smelled it, I survived it, and the broken arrows of Juba and Arawak are still kept in my hut, as memory, as proof, as a warning. The Amazon rainforest is not just trees and rivers. It is alive, it is aware, and it guards secrets modern man will never understand. The Mapinguari is one of those secrets. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, and tell me in the comments, do you believe in the Mapinguari? Have you ever smelled that unexplainable stench in the forest? And if you hunt, be careful on full moon nights, because the Mapinguari is always watching, and not even prayers are always enough. I am Kanauã, guardian of the mysteries of the Amazon night, and as long as the forest breathes, I will keep telling its stories. The stories it whispers only to those who know how to listen. The jungle listens. The jungle watches. The jungle never forgets. The jungle never sleeps. Until the next moon.